Well, thank you that you're there. The crazy thing is he's on the ground going, oh my God, and they're like, keep going. So I'm like, oh yeah, all right. So anyway, I think I heard him. And then finally they're like, cut. And I'm like, okay. I was like, are you okay? They took the hood off and his nose was all bloody. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I feel horrible. But it wasn't just my fault. It was a combination of things. He took the reaction super big, so his face was going towards my hand, and we connected. Not good. Otherwise, there were not that many accidents on the set that I can recall. We were always generally pretty safe, and as time went on, like I said, we used to do a lot of face hits in the beginning. It was like, a lot of kicks to the head and punches to the head, and eventually we changed that. It was only below the shoulders. Any other questions? Yes. No, that's not the reason why they added the Z to the putty's chest, so we have a better target. It was actually because in the show, in the Japanese show, the putties metamorphosed into something different, so then they had the Z costumes. So that's just the way it worked out. Yes? One of the strangest things that's ever happened on set. Well, strangest. I had an episode, this is pretty strange to me. I'll tell you this. We had a big earthquake in '93, I think 93, a big, huge earthquake in Los Angeles. And that morning, the earthquake happened early in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning. And they called us into work. And it was like, okay, the freeways are broken, so how do we get there? We all get there to work probably around 1 o'clock, because it was pandemonium in Los Angeles, and we were supposed to go into the building, and the building hadn't been secured yet. I mean, there's hanging lights everywhere, and there's props and everything all over the place, and so we ended up spending probably another 3 hours outside of the building before they finally told us to go home. I just thought that was very odd. That on a day where there was a catastrophe and there was like, the freeways were broken, there were like holes in the freeway, and like en route to get there, that they were still requiring us to come in on the day before everything was secure. That was maybe not what you wanted, but that was a little odd. Okay. Next question. Let's see if you get some right news. Yes. Pranks behind the scenes on the Ranger set. You know what? We definitely always had weird things that we do, especially on days like when we were in the command center. So there was a lot of standing around and waiting and looking at nothing that was there. And so we, as martial artists, we were always kind of honing our skills, and so the boys, especially, we would always throw kicks at each other. So somebody would be talking out, and so you'd be like, you throw a kick right next to the face, and you're like, yeah, you got me. Other things we do, just stupid stuff, just playing with each other, like sticking stuff in people's ears, wet willies, and kicking the back of somebody's heel if they're walking, and you're like, hey. So just playful stuff like that were pranks that we did. One of the pranks that I pulled on the company was I'm missing a finger on my middle hand, on my left hand. My left hand, I have a missing finger, and it's always been there. It's always been good. So on the show, there was a certain episode where there was a mannequin they were using for prop or something, and they painted the mannequin black or brown, and one of the costume people took the middle finger off the mannequin and gave it to me. So